everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's good to talk to you all again. I wanted to touch base with you because I promised I would deliver more information on the cleanse that I did earlier this month. It was a 3-week cleanse. It was challenging, but also really energizing and empowering. But I wanted to walk you through the weeks of that cleanse, what it was like, and what I plan to do going forward. So 3 weeks, but prior to getting started, for the week prior, I did do a little bit of pre-cleanse training, which was very simple. I made sure that I was drinking a lot of water. I actually have this really enormous water bottle that I use, and it's a 64-ounce water bottle. It has little tick marks throughout the day so you know what you should be drinking when. It starts with 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11, and so on and so forth. I really love this method because I wanted to make sure that I was actually being honest with myself and my hydration. I found this to be a really easy method to kind of get things started. And it's also one of the habits that I've kept with me post-cleanse. Of course, I'm not doing all the same cleansing rituals that I was doing for those 3 weeks. You shouldn't always be on a cleanse, but I have kept up with the hydration, which has been fabulous. So great. So that was the pre-week. Next, I had my first week of the cleanse, which it was not impossible. There were some challenging aspects. I had some food restrictions. No alcohol, no fast food, no processed food. So though that sounds pretty easy, in my work environment, we have drinks after work very regularly or with clients. So it was a little challenging to just say no to alcohol, no processed foods. My goodness, everything I eat seems to come in some sort of packaging. I don't know if that's the case for everybody, but that was actually pretty challenging for me and really changed how I went grocery shopping. So that was no alcohol, no processed food, and no fast food. That wasn't impossible for me, but honestly, fast food is something that I indulge in probably on a weekly basis. And if you're going to include Starbucks or any sort of coffee shop, I definitely do fast food a lot when you factor in those items. So for me, that was a little bit of a challenge to get rid of those items. I also tried to focus on eating primarily raw vegetables and fruits that week, just by choice. I knew it would kind of kickstart my system. So that was the background of week 1. But what we also did is we added in a morning smoothie that we made each morning, as well as a morning tea. The first week was really a detox week. It was meant to cleanse your liver, gallbladder, and get things moving in your digestive system. Now the smoothie I had in the morning, not my favorite. It required juicing a lemon, a lime, a grapefruit. You threw in a clove of garlic, threw in some olive oil, and I believe that's it. And you blended it all up. It looked like this beautiful milkshake smoothie, but let me tell you, it did not taste that great. And it was honestly very filling as well. You were supposed to drink it over about 30 minutes or so. It was 8 to 12 ounces depending on how much you were able to juice out of the fruit. And yeah, it was a little rough to get that down in 30 minutes for myself. Other people who were doing the same cleanse did not have the same challenge that I had, but it was a lot, even though I actually love grapefruit and I cook with lemon and have lemon in my water and lime in my water all the time. That combination was a lot. Oh, garlic. I cook with garlic all the time, but man, that was a challenging drink to get down for 7 days. Following that, I had a liver detox tea, which was, for me, pretty easy to drink. I drink a lot of tea. This tea had a sweetness to it, which it didn't have sugar in it, but it had a sweet aftertaste or something, which I didn't love, but it wasn't unbearable. So I did that for the first week. And I checked in with the woman who was running the cleanse to make sure that my health was on track, that there were no bad signs, that everything was moving along as it should. So we had about 2 or 3 check-ins during that time. Then we moved on to the second week. Now the second week was a vegan diet. And I have eaten vegan in the past, so it wasn't that challenging for me. And it also wasn't that challenging because we ate a ton of food. We started the morning out with a smoothie again. Now, this smoothie was, in comparison, delicious. It had a lot of veggies in it. It actually had red pepper in it, but it also had a handful of blueberries, blackberries, or raspberries, which gave it a beautiful color and some flavor. The red pepper actually added some sweetness. And then I used coconut milk to just kind of give it a little bit more of a thickness. I guess the consistency of it, just to give it a little bit more of like that creamy consistency. Some people did almond milk. I don't drink almond milk typically, so that's why I didn't go that route. Lunch, we were supposed to eat, I kid you not, 8 cups of raw vegetables. Oh my gosh, that's like about this much food. It is enough to feed a family of 4. I, during the entire time, never got through all 8 cups of vegetables. So I ended up serving myself about half that, and I'd munch on it throughout the day. You'd be shocked by how filling it is. And I kept telling myself, listen, if you can make it through all the vegetables, my 4 cups of vegetables, then if you wanted to eat something else, fine. But not one day was I able to get through all those raw vegetables. Carrots, celery, radishes, some leafy green. I did kale, I did spinach, onion, red pepper, yellow pepper, orange pepper, whatever was available in my fridge. I had asparagus. Technically, I did soften up the asparagus in some water, but that was the only thing that was really cooked at that time. Now, I think I may have misspoken, but for our dinner, it was also vegan, but it was cooked. We made these pureed soups with whatever vegetables you really wanted to work with. But since it's autumn, we were encouraged to use a lot of the squashes, the sweet potatoes, items that are, good at this time of year. So I made this incredible sweet potato soup. And you threw an onion in there, I threw some carrots in there. You heat everything up in you just boil it until it's soft, and then I pureed it all. I used a vegetable stock as well in this. You were allowed to add that for this particular soup. And you weren't supposed to eat a lot of it, but it was really nice to have a warm meal after eating, a cold smoothie in the morning, all raw veggies, and then finally I got to have a warm meal at the end of the day. So incredible. So incredible. And the point of this week was to start rebuilding your gut health. That's why we had such a variety of vegetables. That's why, we're eating this kind of soothing soup, something that's easy to digest in the evening. I also started taking a probiotic that second week in the evening, some digestive enzymes with each meal. And I think that they really, kind of helps me push everything along and start feeling a lot of energy from the food that I was eating. Then we got to the last week, and this is the week where we start reintroducing foods that were in our diet before. We're not talking about Doritos and chips and whatever, but reintroducing chickpeas or black beans, or if people are nut sensitive or choose to eat meat, having a little bit of salmon or something that was comfortable for them to consume. And so it was very similar to week 2. We just started adding in a little bit more. We still weren't allowed to have any dairy during that time, but we could have kind of those legumes, beans, and meats if we chose. And we just sort of petered off of this kind of intense cleanse that we were doing. What I loved about this system is that I was never hungry. It wasn't that kind of cleanse. I also really liked that, I could really notice what was happening in my body. And I was working with the woman who was leading our group that was doing this cleanse, and touching base with her, having a coach to help you identify what's going on. You know, she helps you realize I needed a little bit more vitamin B. I don't usually take supplements, but she's like, you know, get this supplement, it's going to help you. You know, a lot of people, especially in Ohio, we don't get as much vitamin D as you might in Los Angeles. You know, making sure you're getting that some other way. Really great. Just, it helps me feel very in tune with my body, and leaving the cleanse, I feel lighter, healthier. Even now, it's been 3 or 4 weeks out, I still feel great. You know, the one habit I've really kept up with is hydrating, and I figure if you're gonna keep one, this is it. But I have also tried to kind of keep up with eating those raw veggies around the noon hour. You know, they're so good for you, they don't make you tired. I learned how to make that really amazing pureed soup. I made that for my family now 2 times, and they absolutely loved it. I threw in some rosemary and some thyme. Beautiful. So it's a really great way to just get excited, not just about being healthy, not about this cleanse, but about like the lifestyle, and embracing, you know, the time of year that it is, and what veggies and legumes are most available right now, and embracing, you know, it's not about losing weight, but embracing the energy you're gaining, and how light you're feeling, and how much more motivated you are. I really did feel a difference in my mental shift during this time, not even in relation to the cleanse, just in relation to my motivation in terms of how I want to live, you know, in the world, decisions I need to make. I know I referenced that in a previous video. At any rate, I'm glad I got to share a little bit more of the details of this experience with you. I personally really gained a lot from this cleanse, and I intend to do another similar experience guided by the same woman and with the same group coming up in February. And I'm considering making this, you know, a biannual ritual where, you know, I take this time to take care of my body, and I learn and take forward whatever habits come with it, to the extent that I can. And if it's just a little easy one, like drinking more water, that's great. That's way better than I was doing back in August when it was hot outside and I probably needed to drink more water. But I think each time I get more inspiration, and it becomes a little bit more part of my identity. So thank you for listening. I'm so glad I got to share, and I look forward to our next video.